Apollo Crews beat Akam of the Authors of Pain. Why do I mention Apollo Crews beating Akam in a 2-minute match? I mention it because it is the latest evidence that the Authors of Pain are dead. And so for all the praise I can give them about how they've booked and how they've protected Ronda Rousey, they have done the complete opposite with the Authors of Pain. The Authors of Pain in NXT were a dominant force to be reckoned with. They were tag team champions for a long time. They were beating guys left and right. They had Paul Ellering with them to do the talking for them so they didn't have to. And then they called these guys up to the main roster, and what's the very first thing they did on their very first night? They split them up away from Paul Ellering. So now they've taken away their mouthpiece, maybe because they want them to start talking more on their own. They want them to express themselves more. I think that was a mistake. So that was mistake number one. Mistake number two was after they debuted, they didn't show up again for weeks. Weeks and weeks would go by, and then they show up, and then they'd be off TV again, and weeks would go by. How are people supposed to get accustomed to these guys? How are these guys supposed to get over and establish their moveset and all these different things if they're on TV 1 week and gone for the next 6? So now this is the latest. This is the latest chapter here in their storied career on the main roster so far. Now they're having a one-on-one match against Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews, who has been treated like nothing but a jobber to the stars since he got called up to the main roster. And they lose. He loses to Apollo Crews when he runs. Akam ran into the turnbuckle, into the post, shoulder first, and then Apollo cradled him and pinned him in less than 2 minutes. Oh, well, hey. When I think of the list of ways to get the Authors of Pain over as a dominant force, I think of a schoolboy roll-up at the hands of Apollo Crews. This team is fucked. And I think they have done the exact opposite with them of what they've done with Ronda Rousey, because Rousey is a star and they're not. And so at a time when they desperately need more tag teams and more dominant tag teams, at a time when the fucking B team are the tag team champions on this show, this is what they're doing to the Authors of Pain. This is ridiculous. So I thought that was stupid. Now, yes, the Authors of Pain could come back and maybe now Razar will have a singles match against Titus O'Neil and he'll beat him and it'll be 50-50. Again, I ask you, what good does that do? What does that do for the Authors of Pain, even if the other one comes back and gets a quick win tomorrow night on TV? That accomplishes nothing. Other than, I guess, set up a kickoff match for SummerSlam, if these guys are even on the show.